For the 5th year in a row, the Springfield Redevelopment Authority hosted their tree lighting ceremony at Union Station. Holiday cheer was in full swing on the station's concourse, where officials and neighbors gathered to light the tree and celebrate. Musicians from the Community Music School of Springfield were also there performing some holiday classics. We caught up with Congressman Richard Neal to hear how an event like this inspires the community.
Thanksgiving is just around the corner, Christmas not far behind, and then of course the optimism of the new year. I think watching these children today, the enthusiasm, the excitement, and the talent from Kensington and certainly the Community Music School, they're all part of the fabric of Springfield. We're really proud of them.
As we just got a sneak peek of, along with local leaders, Santa Claus, of course, was also in attendance, adding to the holiday spirit.
You come to Union Station, especially this time of the year, and you see people with the big smiles on their faces, going to visit family or expecting family in and going off to have an adventure. Everyone's very happy here. Remember, as you're sitting around the tree, the important presents are not what's under the tree, but those sharing it around you. So just remember to be kind to everyone.